How does my hair look?
Awesome.
Clearly, I'm in like an anxiety mode today for whatever, because that's my favorite mode to be in.
Well, I think it's like when
I'll have to turn it off.
When the morning starts all like chaotic, it's hard to pull it all in.
Yeah. That actually felt really good.
Yeah.
Hey guys.
Hey guys.
I'm Laurie.
I'm Elle.
And this is the Cynical Therapist, which is two therapists bantering about different topics. I'm really excited about today's topic, so we want to be clear that it is just two people bantering about a specific topic.
Not therapy.
Not therapy. Because today's topic is feminism and slut shaming.
Which is kind of the same thing.
I'm not sure if I agree with that, but we'll get there. Maybe she'll convince me. If you don't know what a slut is, you need to push pause on this video and stop watching it. And don't ask your mom or dad.
No.
But why the F do you have access to YouTube?
Shut it down.
Shut it down. Hand your phone to your parents and say, Mom and Dad, can you put parental controls on my phone for me?
I feel like I maybe misstepped.
It is really bad that kids can get anything on the internet.
Totally. No, I'm one of those overly protective parents because my oldest ruined it for the youngest. Like it was, I mean, that's a huge piece of it too. Is my oldest daughter was born in 2001. And so she was the generation that never lived without 9/11, which is really interesting. She was born into that. I was hugely pregnant when 9/11 happened. And also they're the guinea pig generation where there were no parental controls. They were given like so much leeway. So it's pretty scary.
It's interesting to hear you talk about 9/11 and being pregnant and all that stuff. And it's like and obviously great that we're talking about feminism, but that in 2019, I mean, when did slut shaming start? That we've gotten all the
Monica Lewinsky.
Oh, it totally did. Yeah, I was actually reading an article about that.
I love her.
Oh, Monica in her blue dress. We should have worn blue today.
I know. If I had a blue dress, I would.
We should have worn blue.
For those of you who are not familiar with the
Who's
Monica Lewinsky. Right? Put down your phone, crawl back under your rock, and move on with your life. She was the first. She was called a tart, which I think is like a cute way of calling somebody a slut, because she had an affair with the president, and somehow was blamed for it, and kind of attacked about it. So I think slut shaming began like the personality, the world against a single person started with Monica Lewinsky and almost like opened the gates of it.
And let's just talk about Washington, D.C. for 2 seconds. Well, first of all, it has the highest rate of relationship happiness in the U.S.
Huh.
That's interesting.
I don't know about the polls.
Well, that might be because people are having affairs and then they're like, I love my wife.
My marriage is so great. I have sex with all the neighbors. I love
Out of guilt, they just say yes. Everything's great. So they
happy.
don't.
10 out of 10.
But I feel like Monica Lewinsky is not the only person having an affair, not only in D.C., but anywhere.
I think it's a power thing. That's what I think the slut shaming piece is. I think the core issue with slut shaming or, I don't know, attacking a woman for having sexuality is a power differential. And I feel like that's what the president versus an intern was. It was a power differential. And nobody can really handle the fact that a woman would be empowered to make decisions about her sexuality.
Sure. Well, what's interesting about that too is, because you said earlier, and then I started to connect the dots in my head, you said earlier, feminism and slut shaming are kind of the same thing. Because we were talking the other day about how in the 50s, women were, I think it was the Women's Army Corps. And that's when you see those movies like MASH and stuff where they're in the white, where they're in the white, they're wearing their lipstick, they have the white hats on, all that. And so like women...
Gloves.
And gloves, yeah. And women they got lipstick. Ooh. And they were taught by Revlon in the Women's Army Corps, which is just so crazy.
Just like
in the 50s. And that's something I want all the women watching this, because I soaked that in and thought about that and was like, we're not super far from that.
Nope.
I think it was in the 70s that women could have weapons in the military, but it's like wow.
Yeah.
You know, like, and it's like, if I pick your sexuality for you, right? If I say, here's what's appropriate, you're going to wear this red lipstick and you're going to wear this white outfit. You can be a nurse in the military. Mm-hmm. But as we progressively, right, as feminism comes in and we get more and more independent.
Yep.
Then it turns into that.
Yeah. It turns into your power makes me feel uncomfortable. Yeah. How can I stay bigger? How can I keep you small? Mm-hmm. And that's, I mean, it is what it is. And I told you that that's what Girl Scouts was for me. Like, I was born in the 70s, and so when I did Girl Scouts, my intention for Girl Scouts was camping, because I'm like an outdoorsy kind of girl. But we didn't really... Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, you learn how to tie knots, you learn how to set fires and pitch a tent, and all sorts of ulterior things now we're finding out, but we always knew. But Girl Scouts, I learned how to crimp my hair. I learned how to sing in rounds, you know. I learned how to sell cookies, obviously. But I do remember getting my beauty badge. And it was like, it was a big deal. It's almost like an internship where like your scout leader or your troop leader would watch you perform a certain task and then either vote if you performed it or not. And the badge was, you know, a blue badge with a hairbrush and a mirror.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And that was an accomplishment.
Yeah.
Like, yay for me. And I mean, that's not that long ago. That's 30 years ago. That's crazy to me. Like, wow. And we had to wear uniforms. I do remember that. And it was kind of the same thing, where like epaulets and like flags on the socks and stuff like that. And I felt very, very important and very special. Not knowing that it was like a form of suppression. Sure. They were just kind of joining in, like, yeah, beauty badges.
This is great.
I know, oh my gosh, my hair looks amazing.
We didn't learn how to tie knots. I remember being in Girl Scouts, brownies. There was daisies, Girl Scouts, brownies. But yeah, we didn't learn how to tie knots. I still don't know how to tie a knot.
Isn't that strange?
That is strange.
Isn't it like the big deal for Boy Scouts? That's what you learn, right? Like,
my husband knows how to tie all types of knots.
Totally. See?
Yeah.
Girl Scouts. Come on.
Teach them how to tie a knot. Maybe they do that now.
No, I was thinking.
We'll get comments in the comments section.
Totally. Like, you guys are old. You don't know what you're talking about. But I do remember, now thinking back, I would almost put money on the fact that my troop leader was a lesbian. Because she had a friend that always came camping with us, and they both played acoustic guitars, and they both sang. It was like the Indigo Girls every week. It was like awesome. And I don't think she was married. And it's like, as a kid, you're like, whatever. And it was LA, so yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, there's nothing more feminist than having a lesbian Girl Scout leader teaching you how to crimp your hair. I feel like that in itself is feminism.
So slut shaming started with Monica Lewinsky, which was, what year was that? That would have been in the...
What was that?
I want to say 90s, but is that right?
I think so.
So I looked up a little bit of it. Like, I know they have the, like, we've had parades and all that stuff. And so I guess the equivalent of, tell everybody what you think the definition of slut shaming is. And because you said it started with Monica Lewinsky.
I think, the definition of slut is a woman that has many sexual partners. It doesn't say whether you're straight or gay or bi or whatever, just many sexual partners. And shaming is essentially getting angry, frustrated, and attacking somebody because they have a behavior that you don't like. Therefore, if you don't like a woman having many sexual partners, you attack her and demean her and degrade her. Yeah,
which is not okay at all. Yeah. And that's I think the double standard that everybody still has to know exists is, you know, men are high-fived, like, oh, you gotta whatever, sow your seed, who knows. But then women, and I always ask this question, if somebody uses that word, I'm like, so if somebody uses the word slut or calls anybody a name like that, I'm like, okay, so what number, how many people do you feel like that warrants you? Because you said many people, you know, and it's like, who gets to decide?
Right?
That, when you hit 40, then, well, you know.
And at what age? I mean, can you in your wild 20s have sex with 15 different partners and then just marry and be monogamous for the rest of your life? Are you still a slut if you're monogamous for the rest of your life? I mean, technically, if you've had an X amount of numbers, you've had multiple partners, which I think anything more than 5 would say, like, multiple, right? That's what I feel like. Anything more than 5 is multiple.
Like anything more than 1 is multiple.
Right. Well, I mean, like, I feel like it's reasonable, I should say. Anything more than 5 is reasonable to be an adult and be married and be like, okay, I've had my first, which is always like sketchy, and then like kind of experimenting in your 20s or whatever, and then settling down for somebody that has all the qualities that you like for that, you know, mate for life. Yeah.
And I think the piece about the slut shaming that is really interesting. I think I was actually, it was out of college, and I remember I met this girl from New York, and we had gone out like for the evening, like to have dinner and go to bars and stuff, and there was a few of us going, and I think she was getting chapstick or something out of her purse, and she had a condom in her purse, and I said, oh, you carry condoms in your purse? And she said, well, yeah, why wouldn't I? And we talked about that, and it was such a pivotal point, I think, for me, of being like, yeah, why wouldn't you? Because it's shame based. It's like, if I put condoms in my purse, then I look like a slut, and I don't want to look like a slut. If you back that up, the reason that she was talking about, she's like, yeah, well, if somebody doesn't have one, I want to have safe sex.
Right.
So I carry them.
Exactly. So I'm responsible. I'm not a slut. I'm responsible, and I'm actually taking care of my health.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's also that piece.
But I mean, how many women do you think carry condoms in their purses? I mean, because no offense to, like, I don't want to be like, we're more responsible than men, but you know, you can't leave them in your car, you can't leave them in your wallet, you can't, and like, yeah, I mean, besides my husband, like, if anybody else I dated, I was 100% more of the responsible one. So it's like,
I know it's super interesting, but it's like, if you have to be, it's because we carry the pregnancy. I think it's a big piece too. It's like we have to protect ourselves from that. Even though a lot of the times we get blamed for being pregnant.
Meaning like carrying birth control or something like that?
Yep.
Oh my God, yeah.
It's our responsibility.
But you still hide it. It's not like you're like opening up your purse.
like a can of worms. And be like, oh shit, all my condoms and my diaphragm. Do people use diaphragms? I don't know. That feels very 70s. Put that back in my purse. I think it's actually empowering to take control of your sexual health.
Yes, 100%.
But I do feel like there has to be that like conversation with somebody who gives you permission to be empowered instead of ashamed of it. I was I don't know, early high school, but again, I was living in San Diego at the time, and it was very progressive, and we had sex ed and like very, I guess, sex positive counselors in the school, which I think is very progressive, but it's like, even so, I don't think anybody was pregnant in my high school, but we had condoms, and I remember there were condoms and birth control everywhere. Yeah. Everywhere.
That wasn't until I got to college.
Okay.
So in college, in college
like
they were everywhere.
Fish bowls of condoms where you could grab them. Yeah. No, and that's how it should be.
Indianapolis, when I was in college, which was, oh my gosh, so many years ago, in the like early 2000s, syphilis, like Indianapolis was like the syphilis capital of the nation.
Yeah, it's Long Beach now.
And so we look back and we're like, abstinence only programs, syphilis,
teen pregnancy.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Like if we could just find that link. It's Long Beach now. Is the syphilis following me around?
Yeah,
I feel like we talked about this before.
No, it's the retirement communities.
Oh yes, we talked about that.
Trip on that. I'm like, thanks Viagra. Because you're not worried about pregnancy when you're, retirement age. So they're kind of living it up.
That's funny.
Yep, not a lot of STD panels too.
Keep living it up. Maybe with condoms though.
I know, but I mean, at that point.
You do you. Right? I feel like after like 60, you do you.
Right? You're like, I'm going to be the doctor like next week anyways. I can just grab a Z-Pack and move on with my life.
I feel like that's the time you can get away with just being
slut,
however you want to be, and nobody says
geriatric slut shaming.
Yeah, because you're right. It just sounds wrong.
Yeah, nobody's gonna make fun of grandma. You're like, get some, grandma.
But I do think that when we, because when we talk about feminism and slut shaming and stuff, and I think it's a really important conversation that a lot of times yes, men do it, but women don't help women.
Nope.
We are so competitive, and we have a tendency to push each other down while we're trying to climb to the top.
It's so weird because we're competing for these guys that aren't competing for us, which is so strange to me.
Yeah.
We're not socialized to work together. Men are. And so I think men actually have been able to like pathologically band together to keep women from being empowered. And I don't think it's purposeful. I just think we're socialized like that.
But what about because we've talked about it before, I know there's some animals that do it, and you were talking about cultures the other day that do it, that the women come together to raise the kids.
Yeah.
So it's like, do you think that just feels like unbiological or foreign or something when it's supposed to be done in the workplace?
Yeah, I think it does. Most those cultures are like in the Amazon. Those cultures, and the monkeys, they're called the bonobo monkeys, and they're matriarchal society, and they have successful pods of monkeys that do really well, and all the females choose the mates, and it's really fascinating. Like the whole bonobo monkey thing changed my view on feminism.
Really?
I just think that part of it is women are submissive because it's kind of how we were raised in America. We are raised to nurture and stay behind the scenes, but now we're coming into our own, and men are taking a more active role in housework and in nurturing children. And I think they're acquiescing to, I mean, even when they came up with the dad bod mantra, I was like, that is men making it okay to be like feminine part of the household. Like I'm gonna get a little soft, and I'm gonna have like a kind of a poochy belly, and I'm gonna play with my kids with my shirt off or whatever. I have a dad bod, and everyone's like, high five, good job, dad bod. Right? And women, it's like, oh my god, postpartum six pack. Like, are you serious, dude? Like, come on.
Where's
man.
women bod?
Yeah, right. Mom bod.
Mom bod.
Everybody knows about. We have mom jeans.
Mom jeans. But it's not like
not the same. Not as sexy.
It's like we excuse, like dad bod's like, oh, dad bod,
Ooh,
yeah.
It's sexy. He's a dad. Like, that doesn't seem fair. I don't know about that. But there was a I don't remember what it was. There was like a link to This Is Postpartum, and there were women showing their bellies after, and it was like all right, but it didn't go viral, and people were like, good for you. It was not empowering, and I don't remember feeling empowered. I remember feeling, okay, it's not that bad. My stomach's not that bad. Look at her stomach. Her stomach is jacked up, and that is
comparing.
Not,
I remember comparing.
Yeah, that's exactly how I've been socialized, and I understand that it's not good, but it's like, I don't know what to do with all of that. I know that I'm very sex positive with my children, age appropriately, obviously, and with my clients.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm like, take care of yourself. That was actually a conversation I had. It doesn't, if you have a relationship where it's weird and maybe you guys do something outside of the relationship and you have a good time, or you invite people in, that's totally fine as long as both of you are on the same page. And I don't think people understand that. It's like, if you're in a relationship and you are completely comfortable and okay with whatever your partner is doing, awesome.
Yeah.
You really don't need to question that. And it's like a lot of people sit in that like, well, is this okay? Well, is it okay with you?
Well, and if you're questioning it, it's going back to the drawing board and asking what your needs actually are, because I feel like that's important. There's an actual definition. It's funny. I'm excited to look this up. There's an actual definition of slut shaming. Nice. More about slut shaming. It does have a reference on the Wikipedia. It's the practice of of criticizing people, especially women or girls. I really wish that said only women or girls, who are perceived to violate expectations of behavior and appearance regarding issues related to sexuality.
Expectations.
It does say the term is used to reclaim the word slut. So for us to reclaim the word slut and empower women and girls to have the agency over their own sexuality.
I like the word agency. I think it's really
But why does it have shaming on it? I guess that's what I don't understand. Oh, that's funny. I pulled that up in Monica Lewinsky's right there.
See?
Empower. So, well, because there was the slut walk. There was like a slut walk in LA or something. So it's I think some women are reversing it, or we're supposed to be trying to reverse it. I still don't love the word. I feel like both of those words, slut and shame, just have like a bad connotation. But like dad bod,
Totally.
Like, that's kind of what you're saying.
Yeah, the words are meaningless until we attach meaning to them. If I am upset with being called a slut, then I'm the one with the problem. If I don't believe that I'm a slut, and I don't care if you know about my sexual partners or my sexual behaviors, then there is no power in it.
That
You
makes
can call
sense.
me a slut all day. It's like I'm not, so it doesn't really bother me. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But when people are trying to forge meaning in the beginning of their sexuality, it feels like an attack if somebody calls you a slut.
Sure.
I mean, but there's really no male equivalent.
Yeah.
A player, like, that's not rude.
Well, and in, you know, whether it's high school, college, whatever, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. You're either slut or a prude.
Yes.
It's like what's
about
the
both?
in between? A slut prude.
I would love a slude.
A slut. We just made up a new word.
I like it. It's better than vlog.
So specifically for this one, we'll post some, I'll post some follow-up stuff to the different social medias that we use. So you guys have some referrals, but also, therapist. There are therapists who are certified as sex therapists. So getting in with somebody, talking to them and not being afraid to have these conversations, I think that's really, really important.
It's huge. So. And for those of you who are super empowered, maybe grabbing those friends of yours that are kind of shaky on the empowerment thing, and then watering the seeds of, compassion and love, instead of being like, I can't believe you don't know that, or what the hell is wrong with you? And like trying not to compete with your female friends on who is the most sexually aware. It's like, no, let's all get in together. Let's all figure it out and talk about how to have the best sex life without being like ashamed of ourselves. And I feel like empowering and reproductive health is probably paramount to everything. Taking care of your brain, taking care of your parts, and then taking care of your health in order to feel completely whole.
So important in feminism.
Yes.
Well, we'll see you guys next time. Please let us know what topics you want to hear about, or if you want to hear more about topics we've already talked about.
Yes.
And we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Vlog. Fluids. So many words.
I know. #fluids.